And they said, the crazy thing is, she is not very good looking. She's minging, they said. And the guy said, he was explaining it, he said, you'd actually have to pay me 3 cows to marry her. So when this backpacker got to the island, he went in search of the moron who'd paid 5 cows for his wife. And he wasn't hard to find because everyone knew where the idiot lived. They said, oh, he's just over there. So they pointed him over. He went and he knocked on this guy's door. He said, you know, what are you doing? Do you not realize that this whole island is laughing at you? Why did you pay 5 cows for your wife? Can you not see? And the guy said to him, well, I paid 5 cows for my wife because she's worth 5 cows to me. And he said, because I paid 5 cows for her, she can walk around the island with her head held high, and she can say, I am a 5-cow woman. She can look at these other people here and there. You're just worth 3 cows. You're a 2-cow woman. My husband paid 5 cows for me. And we walk around this area, and how high we raise our head, do you know what it depends on? It depends on how much we think we're worth. So if we draw our worth from what we're wearing, or who we're going out with, or what our parents think of us, or what our mates think of us, or how good we are at sport, or how good we are in the classroom, if we draw our worth from there, then sometimes our heads are like that, and sometimes they're a bit like this, isn't it? Sometimes you're a bit low. And actually, what God wants to say to us tonight is, do you know how much you're worth? Do you know that he'd come himself to get you? Do you know how much you're worth? And there may be some people, I'm sure there are here tonight, who are thinking, well, what's the catch? You know, why? Why would God do that? So you say God wants a relationship with me. You say that he's willing to come himself to have one. You say that he's willing to enter into my mess and to bring new life to it. You say he's willing to raise my chin and make my shoulders broad. Why? Why would he do that? What's the catch to Christianity? What's the catch to knowing Jesus? Well, honestly, there isn't one. You know, we sometimes think there's no such thing as a free lunch. I promise you, if you went and tried to give £20 to somebody outside, they wouldn't take it. Almost, they'd be, whoa, why are you giving me £20? What's the deal? Where's the hidden clause? But actually, Jesus and the gift of relationship with God is a gift of grace. And grace is a concept that's so hard to explain. So I'm just going to tell you a true story. And this is a story of something that happened in South Africa. Back in the day, about less than 20 years ago, there was something called apartheid in South Africa, which was kind of a time of racial hatred and segregation. And what would happen is people, because of the color of their skin, would be treated appallingly. And when apartheid ended, when a guy called Nelson Mandela came to power, what he did is he set up something called the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. And the idea of this committee was that white policemen who committed atrocities under apartheid could go and they could confess their crimes to the people they'd done them to. So what would happen, there was one particular scene in this courtroom where there's a middle-aged white policeman. There's a courtroom full of people, and there's an elderly black woman sitting across the room. And the white policeman is confessing what he's done to this woman. And he says, under apartheid, me and my mates, we went to this woman's house. We took her 18-year-old son. We shot him. And then we burnt his body, turning it like a piece of meat on a barbecue to destroy the evidence. 8 years later, he said, we went back to that woman's house. And this time we got her husband. And we forced her to watch as we tied him up, poured gasoline over him, and set him alight. And there was silence in the courtroom when the guy finished confessing what he'd done. And then the judge turned to the woman and he said, what do you want to happen to Mr. Van der Beek? What do you want from Mr. Van der Beek? And the woman paused for a moment as she looked at the man who had killed her husband and her son. And then she said, I want 3 things from Mr. Van der Beek. Number 1, I want him to take me to the place where he killed my husband so that we can gather up the dust and bury him. Number 2, Mr. Van der Beek has deprived me of my son, and I still have a lot of love to give. So I would like for him to visit me in the ghetto twice a month so I can cook for him and so that I can love him. And number 3, said the old woman, as she slowly got to her feet and began to hobble across the room, she said, I want to embrace Mr. Van der Beek so that he would know that I forgive him and that God forgives him. And at that point, Mr. Van der Beek, because he was so overcome, fainted. And as she hobbled across the room, the people in the courtroom began to spontaneously sing the song with which we started tonight. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. That's grace. You see, he could never, ever, ever have earned that. There was nothing he could do to make it up to her, and yet she gave that to him freely. Sometimes we think Christianity, it's about rules, it's about being good, it's trying to earn our way into heaven. No, it's about grace. There's nothing we can do. He gives it to us freely. He gives us this relationship that gives us purpose and meaning and value. That's our God. And the final question is, for me, is, fine, if this is true, let's say just for a moment this is true. Why? Why would he do that? Because all we need to do is switch on the TV and we see that the world is a broken place. All we need to do is take a little look at our own lives with a little bit of honesty and see that we're broken people. We've taken a few knocks. All we need to do is be honest, and we realize that we've given out a few knocks as well. So why would God do that? I wouldn't love me the way God does if I was God. And I just want to tell one last story that I heard from a mate recently. His friend is a dad, and he's got a little daughter. And this little girl's favorite toy is this little China doll. It's not like a normal doll. It's not like a plastic doll. It's a little China one. So what would happen is every week the parents would get this little China doll off the mantelpiece. They would give it to the daughter. She would play with it for a little bit, and then they put it back on the mantelpiece so it wouldn't get broken. And there was one time when Daddy and daughter were having a pillow fight, and Daddy pulled the pillow right back so he could knock his daughter out. Put it right back there. And as he pulled it right back, the pillow kind of knocked this doll. And the doll, the way they describe it, is it kind of went into slow motion as they both kind of ran towards the doll, and it slowly toppled and shattered on the ground. And the daughter started crying, wah, 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 and just like that. And so the daddy said, I'm so sorry, Daddy's got a credit card, I'll buy you a new one. And the daughter said, I don't want a new one, I want that one. And she pointed to the broken doll. And so Daddy, what he did was he got all the pieces together and he got the super glue out. And he sat at his kitchen table for 4 hours trying to glue this flipping doll back together. And eventually he glued it back together and it was rubbish. And he gave it back to her and he said, I'm so sorry. And she said, it's okay, Daddy. She said, I'll buy you a new one. I don't want a new one. I want this one. And then he said, but darling, this one's broken. And then she said, but just because she's broken doesn't mean I can't love her. Adam, do you want to just stand up here for a moment? Just stand on the stage with me. Can you extract the £10 note from your trousers? Do you want to put it there? Thank you. Thanks, mate. So, this £10 note has been screwed up, spat on, snotted on, and shoved down Adam's trousers for 15 minutes. How much is it worth? Still worth £10. The point is... no, it's not worth 20. The point is, no matter how screwed up, spat on, messed up we are, our value to God never changes. It never changes. Just because we're broken doesn't mean he can't love us. And tonight, the offer is for you. If you are a Christian and you feel like you've drifted away from this God, come back. Come back to know him. If you've never met this God, he is longing to get to know you. We've heard a little bit tonight about the lengths he's willing to go to. We've heard a little bit tonight about how eager he is and how much he values and loves you. Come to get to know him. And if anything about that, you want to make any steps towards doing that, then I'm just going to be standing over here with a few of my friends. And really feel free, Matt, why don't you come up? Really feel free to come and chat.